Now let's see the organization of an skeletal muscle. This skeletal muscle, it consists of various muscle fibers, and this cells are called as muscle fibers because these grow enormous in length, and they grow up to 35 centimeters in length, and these elongated muscle cells can be seen in the longest muscles which are in the legs. Generally, the skeletal muscle, it consists of bundles of muscle fibers. So hundreds of thousands of muscle cells are grouped together into bundles, and generally these muscle fibers are wrapped in a tough fibrous tissue called as a connective tissue sheath, and the outermost connective tissue sheath that is present on the skeletal muscle cell, it is called as epimysium, and in this epimysium there are bundles of muscle cells which are wrapped together, and this each bundle, it is called as fascicle, and each fascicle is once again surrounded by a connective tissue sheath which is called as perimysium. In the same way, and each fascicle consists of individual muscle fibers, and these individual muscle fibers are once again covered by a connective tissue sheath, and this is called as endomysium. So in this way, each muscle cell will be covered by endomysium, and many muscle cells are grouped together to form a fascicle which is covered by perimysium, and many fascicles are grouped together to form a muscle which is covered by epimysium. In this way, the connective tissue sheaths run throughout the length of muscle cells, and at the end of these muscles, these connective tissue sheaths, they get coiled to form an tube-like structure which is called as tendon, and this tendon is the one which gives attachment to the bone. The muscles are attached to the bones by this tendon. Generally, the tendons are rope-like structures, whereas in some cases the tendons are flat in nature, such as in occipitofrontalis muscle, which is seen on the skull. Now let's see about skeletal muscle cell. In the last case, we have seen the organization of skeletal muscle. Now we will see the skeletal muscle cell. We have seen that skeletal muscle cells are called as skeletal muscle fibers, and these fibers are cylindrical in shape, and they are elongated, as we have seen that they grow up to 35 centimeters in length. They are cylindrical and they grow up to 35 centimeters in length, and when observed under microscope, these skeletal muscle cells, they give a banded appearance which consists of dark and light bands as observed in the diagram. So here the dark and light bands are alternately arranged, and this gives a characteristic striped appearance to the skeletal muscle. And generally we have seen the individual muscle fiber, it is surrounded by a connective tissue, and this connective tissue, it is called as endomysium, whereas the membrane of skeletal muscle, which is called as sarcolemma. And another distinguishing feature of skeletal muscle cell is it consists of many nuclei, and these nuclei are present just below the sarcolemma, and within this muscle fiber, it is packed with sarcoplasm, so which is similar to that of cytoplasm of other cells. The sarcoplasm, it consists of many mitochondria, and this mitochondria, they are necessary for providing the required energy for the function of this skeletal muscle cell. we have seen that the skeletal muscle cell function is contraction, and for it to contract it requires energy, and this energy is produced by mitochondria, and ATP is the form of energy that is produced by mitochondria. And sarcoplasm is also packed with myofibrils, or these are also called as myofilaments, and these myofilaments are running elongatedly, or we can say continuously, from one end of the muscle to the other end of the muscle cell. And generally there are two different types of myofilaments which are present in the sarcoplasm. They are actin and myosin. Actin and myosin are the two different muscle filaments which are present in the sarcoplasm. Apart from this, sarcoplasm also consists of a pigment called as myoglobin, which is similar to that of hemoglobin in red blood cells. Myoglobin also is having an ability to bind oxygen, and this oxygen is utilized for the synthesis of ATP from glucose. And there are stores of calcium which are present within the sarcoplasm, and this calcium, it is released due to stimulation of the skeletal muscle, and this leads to contraction of the skeletal muscle. And we have seen that each muscle cell, it consists of an outer membrane called as sarcolemma, and inside of this muscle cell it consists of sarcoplasm, and this sarcoplasm, it consists of many mitochondria, myofilaments such as actin and myosin, and it consists of myoglobin, and also it consists of calcium stores. Now let's see about this myofilaments. We have seen that the myofilaments present in the skeletal muscle cell are actin and myosin, and this actin and myosin are arranged alternately, and the banded like appearance that is evident for this skeletal muscle cell is because of this actin and myosin. And this actin and myosin can also be called as thin filaments and thick filaments. So thin filaments are actin, whereas thick filaments are myosin. So the thin filaments gives a light appearance, whereas the thick filaments, they give dark appearance, as we have seen in the skeletal muscle cell. The dark and light bands are formed by this thin filaments and thick filaments. The actin, it gives thin filaments, and myosin, it forms the thick filaments. And generally, and this arrangement of thin filament and thick filament alternately, it is distinguished as sarcomere. So we can call them as sarcomere, and these sarcomeres are arranged continuously in the skeletal muscle cell. Now we will see what a sarcomere consists of. So here in this diagram you can see that there is a dark band and there is a light band, and this dark band is called as Z line. The dark line, it is called as Z line, and that distance or that unit of skeletal muscle cell between these two dark Z lines, it is called as an sarcomere. So the sarcomeres are arranged continuously in the skeletal muscle cell. We can see that there are thin filaments which are present in this sarcomere, and those filaments which are attached to this Z line are called as thin filaments, which are actin, and those filaments which are present in the middle, they are called as myosin. The actin filaments are attached to the Z line, and the myosin is present in the middle, and this line which is present in the middle, it is also called as M line. The Z line is present on the two ends of the sarcomere, whereas the M line is present in the middle. The M line, it has the myosin filaments, whereas the Z line, it has the actin filaments, and these actin filaments and myosin filaments, these run parallelly against each other. They are parallel to each other, and generally they are not having any direct contact between them in a resting state. Now let's see about how the skeletal muscle cell functions. So we have seen that the skeletal muscle cell function is contraction, and now we will see how this contraction occurs. Now imagine this is one sarcomere, and there are this similar type of sarcomeres which are arranged continuously throughout the length of an muscle cell, and this sarcomere, it ends from a Z line to another Z line, and we can see the filaments which are attached to the Z line are called as actin filaments, and those filaments which are attached to the M line or which are present between these Z lines, they are called as myosin filaments, and this myosin filaments, these are the thick filaments, whereas actin filaments, these are thin filaments. And generally they run parallelly against each other, and they do not have any contact with each other. And whenever a nerve is stimulated, and this stimulation of a nerve will lead to a release of calcium that is present within the intracellular calcium stores, and this calcium will facilitate the formation of cross bridges on these filaments, and these cross bridges which are formed on the filaments So these cross bridges are formed on the filaments under the influence of this calcium, and these cross bridges will pull each filament against each other, which leads to contraction of this Z lines. So during the time of stimulation of a nerve, during the time of nerve stimulation, the muscle cell contracts. This means that the Z lines come together, and this occurs because of the formation of these cross bridges on the actin and myosin filaments, and this contraction will lead to sliding of these two filaments against each other during the time of contraction, and hence this is termed as sliding filament theory. The mechanism that explains the contraction of skeletal muscle cell is called as sliding filament theory. So this diagram, it shows the Z lines. The Z lines are the green lines, and those filaments which are attached to this Z line are the actin filaments, and the purple colored are the myosin filaments which are attached to the M lines, and due to stimulation of this nerve, it leads to formation of cross bridges, and these cross bridges, they are attached with each other, this and leads to contraction of these actin filaments against the myosin filaments, which leads to sliding of the filaments against each other, leading to contraction of that sarcomere. So that simultaneous contraction of sarcomeres of all the muscle cells and all the sarcomeres will lead to contraction of skeletal muscle. Next we will see what a neuromuscular junction is and what a motor unit is. So neuromuscular junction, in the sense that junction between the nerve and muscle, it is called as neuromuscular junction. Generally we have seen that somatic nerves are the nerves which are supplied to the skeletal muscle, and this somatic nerve ending, which consists of many axonal terminals. These axonal terminals will reach the individual muscle cell. It means the axonal terminals will penetrate into the muscle and they are individually distributed to each muscle cell. And this axonal terminal and the muscle cell, they come in close contact with each other, and once again they do not have any direct contact with each other. So this leads to formation of an junction which is called as neuromuscular junction. And whenever the nerve is stimulated, the neurotransmitters which are released from this axonal terminal will be released at the neuromuscular junction, and this will act on that muscle cell, which leads to contraction of the muscle cell. And the neurotransmitter that is released from this somatic nerves is called as acetylcholine, and acetylcholine will lead to contraction of this skeletal muscle cell. Now let's see what a motor unit is. We have seen that neuromuscular junction is the junction between an axonal terminal and the skeletal muscle cell, whereas a motor unit is that group of muscle cells that are supplied with one single nerve. So for example, we have seen a axon of a somatic nerve will have many axonal terminals, and this all axonal terminals of one axon are supplied to many muscle cells, and this together it is called as one motor unit. Now let's see the action of skeletal muscles. So we have seen the skeletal muscle cells, they are necessary for contraction of skeletal muscles, and this is the main function of skeletal muscle. So generally we have seen that the nerve which is supplied to the skeletal muscle, it leads to contraction of that particular skeletal muscle, and this contraction of skeletal muscle, it leads to shortening of the muscle or contracting of the muscle, and this increases the tone of the muscle. And generally we can distinguish between the tone we can explain the tone of a muscle as sustained and partial contraction of muscle fibers to maintain the posture without the influence of any additional factors. It is called as muscle tone. So for example, we are standing and our head is kept straight, and the head is kept straight by various muscles which are present in the neck. In this way, the muscles which are supplied to the neck, they are involved in regulating the contraction of that particular muscles to keep the head straight, and these work alternatively. There are many muscles, and to avoid fatigue or to avoid the difficulty in contracting for a prolonged time, which is called as fatigue, there are groups of muscles which take up the responsibility of keeping our head straight one by one. And generally good muscle tone, it is essential for maintaining the health of the joint, and also this gives muscles firmness and shape. And this contraction, it can be explained as either isometric contraction or isotonic contraction. Isotonic contraction, or we can say here they are having same tension, means the tension which is generated within the muscle, it is similar, whereas isometric contraction in the sense the length of the muscle will remain fixed. For example, we will see an example. Let us see an example of isotonic contraction. In isotonic contraction, we are lifting a book. When the book is lifted, which leads to contraction of the skeletal muscles in the biceps, and this contraction will reduce the length of the muscles, but there is an increase in tone of the muscles. This reduces the length of the muscle, but the tension that is generated within the muscle, it is constant. Whereas when we are attempting to lift an 80 kg weight with one hand, it is impossible. So though we put all our efforts to increase or to lift the weight of that particular 80 kg substance, even though the muscle tension is keeping on increasing, the length of the muscle does not reduce here. In this case, we can see that the length of muscle is constant, whereas the tension of muscle is increasing, and this type of contraction is called as isometric contraction. Whereas in the previous case where we are lifting a weak substance, the length of the muscle will be reduced, but the tension of the muscle is constant. So this is the difference between isometric contraction and isotonic contraction. So we have covered the topics which are present in your syllabus, that is skeletal muscle cells, organization of skeletal muscle, structure of skeletal muscle cell, neuromuscular junction, motor unit, isometric and isotonic contractions, and sliding filament theory. Thank you.